Moi, j'ai une autre petite remarque qui concerne la vieille question de la forme et du contenu. Par moment, tu as référé ces paradoxes formels à des paradoxes de contenu. Par exemple, la divinité et l'humanité de Marie, dans le cas d'un de ces tableaux, le croire et le ne pas croire de saint Thomas. Et donc la construction formelle, la duplicité avait était la forme d'un contenu lui-même descriptible en termes de duplicité. Alors, seulement quelques fois, pas tout le temps. Tu as fait ça dans quelques occasions. Si j'étais un sémioticien orthodoxe, et je ne suis pas, je prétendrais que ça marche toujours, que cette relation serait toujours présente. Qu'est-ce que tu penses de ça?
I think that he for some reasons which I don't know exactly, he had this penchant vers these duplicitous structures, and then he did very much things with it which are very creative in articulating certain kinds of contents. It's very what he does with the problematics of inspiration, what he does with the problematics of death, of believing and not believing. It's a strong instrument of articulating contents in a way that things become visible which are normally not visible or articulated. So I would say that the content is very, and the content becomes maybe another kind of content when it gets another conception what these contents are about, because he doesn't confront the paradoxes only there where they are traditionally there. Of course, incarnation and the virginity of Mary, these are classical problems of paradoxes to be articulated. He finds them in many places, and each time he uses his devices in a different way, and there may be a story here to be recounted, but maybe it's not. And there's the problem of translation. Surprisingly, in many instances, it works. But I don't know if in all instances one would have to see. So I would try to look painting by painting what is really happening and what one can do with the analysis. If there is some kind of parallelism, or let's say projection of some axis of articulation onto other axes of articulation, or if there's some instances where it really doesn't work, where he doesn't care about the content. But then there's also the other question: where did this come from? Why? Of course, there's something about his dispositives which is widespread and is not his invention, and very similar things are happening in Poussin and in other painters. But there's the feeling that there might be a historical relationship to the principle of diptychs, which has after all been, or of winged and hinged images which have been there. Of course, the huge winged altars are more something of the north and not of Italy, but there are of course diptychs in medieval painting, and two-sided objects for a very long time, and there is organ wings in northern Italy, and of course his teacher had to do with this Venice and so on, but not only this tradition. So one might ask oneself.
Il y a aussi le miroir. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Je t'ai interrompu. Les biographes du Caravaggio, surtout Baglione, disent qu'il travaillait avec un miroir, un mirror.
Yeah.
Et Fried a beaucoup développé cette idée de la spécularité comme, dans un premier temps, comme une manière de transformer la question de l'autoportrait avec le miroir, avec l'inversion de la figure, mais aussi de manière d'intégrer la figure du peintre ou de l'artiste, l'opération de l'artiste dans la peinture elle-même. Ça, c'est toute une voie qui a été suivie par Fried, mais si on regarde le Narcisse qu'aujourd'hui tu n'as pas montré, je pense que sûrement le miroir a à voir avec cette question de duplicité.
This might be one dispositive where this is engendered, but in the history of painting, it's these things, of course. Now this is Cossard, I think. I'm sorry, I've forgotten it. And what we see in Northern Europe is that in the 16th century, diptychs and foldable structures aren't used anymore. But there are some painters who articulate the movement from two-sided structures to one-field images in inscribing the old dispositive into the new one. The two-sided things, this is very clearly done by, is it Cossard, is it Mabuse? I'm sorry, but of course here we are in Netherlandish painting around 1530 or so. And of course there is, you know, the law, blah, blah, blah. So it's highly articulated. It's also mise en abîme. It's a highly this is a painter who also painted diptychs and so on, but at a certain point turned to the one-field images, inscribing, however, the dispositive into the new thing. Now we don't have got the same kinds of traditions in Italy, but it might be that something similar enters here, that the culture of foldable images, waning, not anymore important, is nevertheless inscribed into the new dispositive. This would just be a question of what the historical implications of tableau Proyant could be, and then we would have in Caravaggio some kind of reinscription, mise en abîme, but also explosion of a principle which had been an important organizing principle of paintings, but then historically was discarded, but re-entered in a certain way. This might be one way of thinking about it. A difficult way. One would have to trace more the northern Italian surroundings from which he actually comes. And, looking at the Roman situation would be very difficult, but no, I'm not sure. Looking at the organ wings and about these principles in Venetian painting and so on. So unfortunately, historical work would have to be done, or fortunately for those who like historical work and the contingencies of life.